Joining today. Today's hot topic is how to prepare for a seven-figure deal when you're coming up with that exit strategy plan. So we're going to walk you through that roadmap today. We'll give everybody just a few minutes to join. I can see we have a few of our diamonds in the participants over here. So hi, Robin and Karen. Thanks for joining. Now we have Amanda. Thanks for joining. Eric with the Belladerma team. Welcome. Okay, looks like we have a good amount in there, so we'll go ahead and get started. So thank you so much for your time today. Whether you're thinking of selling your med spa in 6 months or in 2 years, this session is designed to help you take intentional strategic steps now so you can walk away later with maximum value and zero regrets. My goal is for you to leave this call with clarity and confidence to prepare for a seven-figure deal. If you need help, comment exit when we'll send you the checklist, non-negotiables top med spa buyers expect in a seven-figure deal. So whether it's 12 months out or 5 years out, this tool will help you plan for a 5 times exit. All you have to do is type exit, EXIT in the chat, and we'll get it to you. Any of our consulting clients, please put your email as well, and we will get that to you expeditiously. So let's kick things off by talking about what buyers actually want. When they're considering a med spa purchase, excuse me, buyers aren't buying your services or your space. They're buying a business that runs smoothly, scales predictably, and doesn't depend entirely on you. That means documented systems, strong margins, and consistent patient retention, and a team that can deliver without the owner holding everything together. Let's start with a simple but powerful shift in thinking. You're not just selling a med spa, you're selling a machine, a business that runs smoothly, grows predictably, and doesn't rely entirely on you to survive. That's what buyers are looking for, and that's what commands the highest valuations. Buyers aren't looking for chaos, stress, or anything they'll have to clean up. They're looking for predictability, efficiency, and scalability. Most deals don't fall apart because the business isn't profitable or promising. They fall apart because the seller wasn't prepared. When documentation is organized, numbers don't add up, or internal processes are unclear, it raises red flags for buyers. And even the best run practices can lose value if you can't present a clear, credible picture of how the business operates day to day. Preparation isn't just about impressing a buyer, it's about proving your business is ready for a seamless transition. To give you an example, I worked with a med spa owner. She had strong top line revenue, amazing branding, and a loyal patient base. But when buyers looked under the hood, they saw chaos, no SOPs, 3 team members on the verge of quitting, and financials that were frankly a mess. Despite her confidence, her business wasn't ready. It took us 6 months to clean everything up. And when she re-entered the market, she sold for nearly double her original offer. Why? Because we turned her business into a scalable turnkey machine. So today I want to give you the roadmap to do the same. Now that we've set the stage, let's talk about your financials, because that's where buyers start every time. They want to see your 3 years of clean financials. This includes your profit and loss statements, your balance sheets, tax returns. All need to be exported from your accounting software, labeled by year and stored in a shared folder. It needs to be clean and organized. EBITDA is the most important factor to consider when prepping to close a seven-figure deal. To keep it as clean as possible, you'll also want to create an add back sheet. This outlines personal or non-reoccurring expenses like owner travel, meals, and auto payments. When removed from your P&L, they reveal your true profitability. You use this to calculate your adjusted EBITDA. This is the number buyers use to determine your valuation. For example, if your EBITDA is $400K and a buyer offers 5 times multiple, you're looking at a $2 million sale. So the higher your EBITDA and the cleaner, more scalable your business, the higher the multiple. For example, if your EBITDA is in the $500,000 to $1 million range, you're going to look at a 4 to 6 times multiple. If you're 2 million and plus, you're looking at a 6 to 8 times multiple. And for the top tier med spas, really strong infrastructure and growth potential, they can command up to 7 to 10 times their EBITDA. I once worked with a client, a plastic surgeon in Scottsdale, Arizona, and we added over $250,000 to her med spa's valuation simply by cleaning up her financials. She worked with the CPA to clearly identify $60K in personal expenses, travel, vehicle payments. They were all legitimate add backs, but by presenting clean, transparent financials and showing steady year-over-year EBITDA growth, she not only increased her budget, but she also was able to secure a 6.2 times multiple, up from her original 4.5 offer. And that is how you close a seven-figure deal. If you need help with this, remember, team, comment exit in the chat, and we'll send you the exact checklist to walk you through this step by step. Now, once your financials are cleaned up, and the next buyers want to evaluate is how your operations are running behind the scenes. Buyers want proof that the business runs on repeatable systems, not your personal hustle. Start by documenting your standard operating procedures. This step may sound tedious, but it doesn't have to be overwhelming. Use simple, repeatable formats and give each SOP a clear title, brief purpose statement, and outline the steps, step-by-step instructions, and then assign responsibility for the task. Begin with your most routine processes: front desk check-in, check-out, patient consultations, inventory, pre and post treatment, follow-up, rebooking. These are all the operational foundations of your business, and putting them in writing is a powerful step towards creating consistency and scalability. Next, we need to audit your software stack, the fun stuff. Make a list of all your EMR, CRM, marketing platforms, inventory systems, reporting dashboards, all of the apps. We want to get those all consolidated and figure out what's working, what's redundant. Can anything be streamlined or integrated? A well-documented tech stack that supports patient flow and tracks KPIs are huge green flags for buyers. They love to see clean numbers and easy-to-see results. Bonus tip: clean up your patient database. Remove those duplicates, segment by treatment, and ensure you've got consent for your emails and SMS marketing. It boosts your conversion potential and your perceived value. Let me share a quick story. One clinic I worked with had a patient list of over 12,000 contacts, but 4,000 were duplicates or incomplete. Once we cleaned this list up and created meaningful tags, we found 8,000 active high-value patients. That cleanup alone increased their valuation by 10%, simply because it improved conversion potential and marketing performance. Once your systems are in place, we have to talk about your team, because they are one of the biggest factors in maintaining business value to close the seven-figure deal. And remember, if you need help, exit in the chat and we'll send you the checklist and non-negotiables top med spa buyers look for in a seven-figure deal. Back to your team. Your team is one of your biggest value drivers, or they're one of your biggest risks. Buyers want to know that the best people will stay. That includes your lead injector, your esthetician, and your manager. To help solidify their role, build in simple retention agreements or bonuses that kick in post-sale. For example, a 90-day stay bonus. This reassures buyers and incentivizes your team to work through the transition. I have another story, not a good one. A deal I was working on completely unraveled when a top injector resigned during the due diligence. The buyer had originally offered $2 million for the practice, but when they found out the lead provider, who generated 40% of the practice revenue, was planning to leave, they immediately reduced the offer by $400K. The loaner had no retention agreement in place, and the injector felt uncertain about her future with the new owner. A simple 90-day stay bonus or a signed transition agreement would have protected the deal and maintained the full valuation. It was a costly lesson in the importance of preparing your team, not just your numbers. And if you're the one holding everything together, start delegating now. A business that runs without you is worth far more, and it's far easier to sell. Now, from here, let's move on to one of the biggest value drivers for any deal: performance and profitability. Strong year-over-year growth matters, way more important than just one big year. Buyers want to see consistency. So we need to chart out the last 3 years of your monthly revenue, net profit, and your provider production. Use visuals, include context, seasonality, equipment additions. The best way to present this is with very clear visual data. Create a chart that shows monthly and annual revenue and net profit for the past 3 years. Include notes, seasonal patterns, new service launches, major business changes like provider additions or equipment investments. If you experienced a dip, say during COVID, or if you lost a provider, or you had some construction downtime, don't try to hide it. Instead, offer a clear and confident narrative that explains what happened and how you rebounded. Buyers aren't looking for perfection, they're looking for resilience and proactive leadership. In fact, how you recovered from a challenge can be just as valuable as the growth itself. If your revenue dipped for 2 months, but you responded by tightening expenses, re engaging patients, launching new promos that brought numbers back up, that tells a buyer that you're looking at a business with strong leadership and adaptability. Use this opportunity to show how you've built not just performance, but momentum. And when a buyer can see that momentum continuing without you at the helm, that's when your valuation climbs from average to exceptional and you get that 7-figure deal. After that, we're going to move on and take a close look at your cost of goods sold, commonly known as your COGS. This includes everything you purchase to deliver your services and sell, your injectable costs, your device consumables, back bar, inventory. And this exercise isn't just about financial clarity, it's about uncovering hidden inefficiencies that could be costing you thousands. Once you've broken it down, compare your margins to industry benchmarks. If your injectable costs are running 55%, but the benchmark is closer to 35-40, that's an opportunity. If you're overstocked on skincare products and that rarely sell, that's a red flag for buyers. When your numbers are off, don't panic. Optimize. Review your vendor relationship. Start negotiating for better pricing. Many vendors will be willing to lower minimums, offer tiered pricing, or bundle purchases if you just simply ask them. You can also consolidate your vendors to increase leverage or reduce redundancy. Buyers look closely at your COGS because it speaks volumes about your operational discipline and margin management. High-performing practices not only have strong revenue, they also keep a tight grip on expenses, demonstrating that you've already taken steps to improve profitability at the vendor level shows buyers that you run a thoughtful, well-managed business, and that makes your med spa far more attractive than during negotiations. For example, one med spa in Denver increased their annual profit by $40,000 just by tightening up their back bar ordering process and renegotiating a few vendor agreements. After a COGS audit, they discovered they were over ordering 20 to 30% every single month. This was resulting in expired inventory and tied up cash. We helped them implement a simple monthly ordering protocol based on service volume and provider usage. They also consolidated vendors, negotiated bundle pricing, free shipping thresholds, quarterly bonuses, all those fun perks that vendors offer. These small adjustments not only cut waste, but significantly improve margins. Without increasing their patient volume, this improved their EBITDA and their valuation. And if you need help with this, comment exit and we'll send you the checklist, non-negotiables, top med spa buyers expecting a 7-figure deal. Moving on, as we round out this performance picture, one of the most telling indicators of a well-managed and scalable med spa is how you track and analyze your marketing return on investment. Buyers are no longer impressed by vague statements like we get a lot of referrals, we spend a little on Instagram. They want to see real numbers. So start by reviewing your marketing activity from the past 12 months. This includes paid ads, email campaigns, influencer partnerships, promotions, and SEO efforts. Ask yourself, how much did you spend and what did you get in return? Buyers love a business with predictable growth and high return on investment. So you must track your cost per lead, cost per acquisition, and return on ad spend. You need to show that you can connect leads to revenue and show what's working, whether it's email flows, social media, Google ads, events, whatever it is. A clinic in Miami that I worked with started tracking how much it cost to get a new patient and how much they were making back from their ads. And once we had those numbers, it was easy to show buyers that their marketing was actually working, bringing in consistent and profitable patients. That kind of data made the business look super scalable, and it helped them land a higher offer, over $300,000 more than their original valuation. And so once we have that, we need that to move forward. So once we have your financials, operations, and performance solidified, it's time to polish your brand presentation. In the aesthetics industry, first impression is everything. They shape perception, build trust, and influence booking decisions. Your online presence is often the first place a new patient encounters your business, so it must reflect the same professionalism and quality as an in office experience. So, first, start by assessing your website's appearance and its functionality. Next, optimize your local presence, beginning with your Google Business listing. Upload fresh photos of your space, update your business hours, make sure all your services are correct. Encourage satisfied patients to leave reviews, respond to them, and show engagement. Growing your review count, even by just 10 or 15 in a month, can dramatically improve your perceived value. I have another story to share with you. A med spa owner reached out after plateauing in monthly revenue. And despite having skilled team, great patient retention, when I did a quick audit, the issue was clear. Their online presence was working against them. Their website hadn't been updated in over a year. The top 3 Google reviews were outdated or irrelevant. Social media had no consistent branding, no real strategy, and definitely no clear call to action. So, despite delivering amazing results in person, they were losing online first impressions every single day, and they didn't even realize it. So, when we started making these small changes, professional photos, strong before and afters, weekly educational content, and a consistent call to action to book consults, their visibility improved almost overnight. Website traffic increased, their Google ranking climbed, new leads actually started converting. And here's the thing, your skill doesn't matter if no one can find you or trust you online. So, this isn't just about marketing, it's about perceived value. Buyers and patients both look online to determine if you're relevant, active, and worth their time. If you want to grow or sell for top dollar, you can't afford to look outdated online. So now, once you have your marketing metrics aligned, it's time to make sure your business is packaged properly. This is where your brand and presentation come into play. You want to create a confidential information memorandum. That is a CIM. And yes, you would want to have a lawyer look this over for you. This is essentially your business resume. It's going to include your financial highlights, provider bios and structure, patient volume and services, that software stack we talked about earlier, growth opportunities, and professional photos of your space. You want to use graphs, charts, summaries to tell your story. Keep it polished and very easy to digest, but only share this with any potential buyers after a signed NDA. So now let's bring it home by talking about one of the most commonly missed pieces. What happens after the sale? Your transition plan and deal flexibility. Plan your role after the sale. Will you stay 30, 60, or 90 days? In what capacity? Are you a consultant, an advisor, a trainer? Be specific. Put it in writing. Without clarity, you risk being overextended or undervalued. I once worked with a client who verbally agreed to stay involved. No contract, no time limit. And 6 months later, he was still working in the practice for free. Buyers appreciate the help, but you need to define the terms clearly to avoid misunderstandings like this. You also want to consider ideal deal structure. Do you want a clean break? Are you open to an earnout or minority stake? Know your goals ahead of time and be flexible when the right offer comes in. And as we wrap up today, here's the bottom line. Buyers aren't looking for perfection. They're looking for predictability, performance, and professionalism. When your business is organized, profitable, systemized, and team supported, you command top dollar and close with confidence. And even if you don't sell, you'll operate more efficiently, lead more clarity, and improve your bottom line simply by preparing. So whether you're prepared to sell this year or simply future-proofing your practice, the steps you take now will pay dividends financially, operationally, and personally. So start today, lead with intention, and build a business that's ready for a 7-figure deal, one that creates freedom, not just for your future buyer, but for you. And if you would like a full checklist or help building your custom exit roadmap, please comment exit, EXIT, and we'll send you the checklist and non-negotiables for top med spa buyers building a 7-figure deal. So again, just type exit, and any again of our consulting clients, please just add your email to make sure that we can get that to you quickly. Okay, and so now I want to open the floor up for some questions. We've got a little bit of time left. Let's see if we have any. Okay, so EBITDA. What is EBITDA? So everybody should know what that is, but we'll just talk about it really quick. So your EBITDA is essentially your profit, but a very specialized form of your profit. So it's your earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization. So essentially it's everything that's left after everything is paid. So you want to make sure that these are very clean numbers. That's why you have the opportunity to take your add backs off so that you can really clean up your line items. And just to kind of let you know benchmarks when it comes to your EBITDA, a 500K to 1 million small firm is really kind of look at more of a 4 to 6 kind of multiple. So you definitely want to make sure that you look at this number, make sure that's a clean number, because the higher you can get it, the higher your valuation can come out. Let's see, do we have any others? Okay.
Sherry, I see in the chat a question about what's a good multiplier that a person should be shooting for. And I know there's a lot of variables, but sometimes we just see it all over the board. But if you have enough time to prepare and you do things correctly, what kind of multiplier can I expect, or should I be shooting for?
You should be shooting for at least in that 5 times multiplier. So if you are super high performing and your EBITDA is that surplus over 1 million, absolutely you can start to shoot for more. But most med spas, the average is going to be in that 500K. So if you're looking for that, that's going to be one of your ideal situations to be in, and then try to shoot for that 5 times. Now, again, super well organized, lot of profitability to show and potential that can always increase your valuation.
Can you expand on that further? There was a follow-up question of 5x per year, 5x times EBITDA. Like, what is that magic equation?
Yeah, of course, of course. So that is going to be like times your total EBITDA. So basically, if you are a client that has, say, 500,000 and you get a valuation of 5 times multiplier, they're going to close out, and your deal is now going to be a $2.5 million deal. That's going to be, and again, your EBITDA is for the year. That's your entire year's EBITDA. But your payout is going to be that total 2.5 million now to pay out and hand over your business. And again, it varies. Some people will like to include their contract to say they're going to stay on and they're going to get part of the shares and they're going to continue to do things in the business. And some are like, hey, I'm out of here. I don't want to do anything else. Give me my 2.5 million and I'm going to the Bahamas. So either way that you look at it, that's kind of what you want to shoot for.
And I know a lot of people get caught up in that multiplier, which is absolutely important. But we've also seen some people not read the terms or the fine print and not happy with the deal they bargained with. So, what are some of the things in the terms and the back end that you've seen people just like not, they didn't know what they didn't know and they didn't pay attention to anything beyond that multiplier and they weren't happy at the end?
So, for one, you definitely want to make sure of how your involvement is and what that exact deal structure is. So, really, your level of involvement and what you're going to kind of maintain afterwards. Sometimes it can be just as simple as making sure that your leases can transfer. Um, if somebody misses that in the clause, then later you can come around and then they are trying to back out of the deal or ask for money to either reestablish the lease, or they have to, my worst case scenario, move locations, which would be terrible. But anything like that that could fall through the cracks, and a lot of times it is that kind of transferring of services that some people might miss. That can then get added into that contract, because if you have a very savvy lawyer, they're going to have already looked at that. They already know. And if it's never brought up, they're going to slide that into that contract to where it's now your problem to fix and to pay for it. So you want to avoid that at all costs. And then also basically making sure that your provider and your team is really on board with staying. Again, with those 90-day stay bonuses, making sure they stay for the transition. Sometimes that can be added in if there's a liability that you've lost the clinic and now you're responsible for that lost revenue. So you definitely want to be on the lookout for that as well.
And again, I know there's lots of variables to this next question I'm going to ask you, but on average, how long are these from start to finish generally taking?
To complete your due diligence, the sale, and everything. Now, to prepare, give yourself at least 6 months to prepare. Unless you already know your systems are perfection, I would give yourself at least 6 months to prepare. But once you get into the process, typically within kind of a 30 to 45-day turnaround to kind of close the deal, as long as your numbers are good and you have all these, everything we just talked about from this amazing checklist and all of those tips and tricks, as long as those are in alignment, the faster it's going to be. If it's out of alignment, you're missing any of those things, anything that they can flag, they're either going to give you a very low ball number. They may walk away from the deal entirely. So it's really important to kind of make sure you have all your ducks in a row. And then again, that's going to make it way more of an expeditious sale versus you're waiting and you have to reconfigure, or they send you back to get clean numbers, separate something that they don't like. So all the extra time you put in that 6 months of preparation, that's going to be the fastest way to close quickly, versus, because you don't want to drag it out for sure. Because then they're going to find things. There's going to be something that comes up that could, again, kind of tank your deal. The only way that you would want to, once you get some of that feedback, sometimes it's better to even walk away from that deal at the moment and totally get yourself back together to come back for another assessment later. If they feel like they have your back against the wall, then they may start just trying to pressure you to close the deal, but lower your valuation.
Oh, that's such great advice. And I love also how you really segmented the difference between preparing to begin having these conversations and open to receiving offers, and your due diligence versus the preparation versus actively trying to come together for a deal. Because oftentimes I think people confuse the two. And during that kind of 6 month preparation phase, they stop their normal day-to-day business, which affects their results and their revenue and their EBITDA at the end of the day. And then they're not happy with their multiplier. And then they wasted all this time and the deal never happened. And then they try to start that engine again. It's just this vicious cycle.
Yes, you have to keep your foot on the gas. You have to keep, if you're doing this, you have a well-oiled machine. Don't let off your machine. You want to make sure it's continuing to produce. That is a very key point. You don't want to get sidetracked and, okay, I have all these meetings and I need to meet the accountant and I need to meet the lawyer and then I need to go through these reports. You need to do that, but you also need to have that solid office manager making sure all systems are go within the clinic and the providers are still performing. You're still getting good Google reviews. It's really important to maintain your presence through the preparations and obviously through the due diligence. You don't want anything to kind of change once that process starts.
Love it. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. I don't know if we have any more in the chat. So that is fantastic. Thank you so much for your time. It looks like we're about to wrap up, but there's only a minute left. So if you do want to drop in the chat exit, let us know along with your email address. We'll make sure that we get the checklist to you. And again, thank you so much for your time today. And remember, if you're preparing for a 7-figure deal, we are here to assist you. And then again, if you just prepare and make this just an amazing streamlined clinic, it's good for you either way.